Apparently I've been live for the last 30-some seconds. Not that anybody's in here. Hello guys, welcome in. We're going to get started right now. I'm just going to say hi. Or H. There we go. Alright, we're going to be making shafts for Turkish drop spindles. And I think that'll work. Alright. Alright. Who's ready to make some wood chips? Let's do it. Hey guys, welcome in. So we are getting ready for a festival. We're in Wisconsin, the festival's in North Carolina. So we're leaving probably on Tuesday. So I've got a bunch of shafts I need to make. According to the list, I have 7 8-inch, 2 7-inch, and 17 7-inch besides that, and 1 6-inch. So it's going to be a couple days. So we're turning hard maple. I can see the chat if you have any questions. So I'm basically just watching the stream, so it's going to take probably about 20 seconds before I see anything written. And I'm almost out of wax. I'm going to have to refill that in a couple minutes. So I'm burnishing with wood chips. Think of it like a friction polish. What do I do? Well, I make fiber tools for a living. So this is my day job. So So I primarily make drop spindles and other tools for fiber artists. So your knitters, crocheters, weavers, that kind of thing. And this channel is primarily beginner to intermediate woodworking projects. A lot of scroll saw stuff. Some lathe stuff. But I do plan on touching on some 3D printing and laser engraving and CNC and that kind of stuff. Hey MS, how's it going? Welcome in. Hello P7Q. Hello. So I don't know how many of these are actually going to be getting out. I'm looking at maybe 2 hours. Hello, Brazil. Welcome in. I'd like to apologize. I do not know any Portuguese. So you guys got some hippopotamuses running around in the wild, right? It's pretty awesome. So we are making Turkish spindles shafts. So this is what they look like when they're done. So we'll go over the shafts. So we're spindle turning, so what I'm doing here could be applicable to like making magic wands, baseball bats, pens, pieces of furniture. Thank you. So I've been making these professionally since 2013. So the bottom gets sanded out. You have a lathe in your garage but for metal? Nice. Yeah, I'd like to get a small metal lathe eventually, but... So the big difference is this one is belt driven, where when you get into metal lathes, they're driven by gears. So this one's a little bit more forgiving. It's because it really doesn't need the torque. So I used to buy my my turning stock. I used to buy it as I'd buy like 8 1/4-inch wood and then would cut it down into square strips. But by doing doweling, it just saves me a lot of time, and I don't make as much waste. So when I order it, order it oversized so I can true it up. Yeah, so today I was keeping 5 3D printers going, and I was keeping a laser engraver going as well, plus I was working on the lathe. So it feels like I've been running around with my like a chicken with its head cut off. So now we can relax and just make some shafts. So So after this one, I'll walk through exactly what we're doing. Almost out of wax, so I'm gonna fill it up real quick. So I'm putting a layer of just paste wax, just to give the wood a little protection. Once it starts getting used, a lot of people use wool, so it's gonna get some lanolin on it. So the bottom gets sanded out in the next step. Alright, so we're starting out with maple doweling. I order it directly from the manufacturer, and it's made per order. So these haven't been sitting on a shelf. So it's oversized to start with. So I'm going to start with my roughing gouge. We're going to bring it down. I'm going to be using this wrench or spanner as a caliper. So if the wrench fits over the top, I know I'm on size. Now I have marks on my tool rest for making 8-inch shafts. So my taper is going to end there. So that's as far as I'm going to go with the roughing gouge. I'm going to switch out to a spindle gouge. You can see it's much flatter. Let me go with me. Wow. Sorry about that. I had some hard Mexican candy in my mouth that's watermelon flavored. And then it's got chili powder on the inside, which I love, but it just hit me wrong. Alright, so I use this wrench. I know I'm on size. And we'll sand it out. Just up top there. Yeah, gloves are a bad idea when you're working with anything that spins, because the glove could get hooked in and then you would get sucked in. Splinters, once you get it circular, splinters aren't really an issue. So I am supporting the wood quite a bit because it's so thin that if I wasn't supporting it, it would chatter. You know, you can bend this thing, you know. So that's why I'm always supporting it. Yeah, this is kind of a specialty thing. You know, if I'm like turning a bowl, I'm not touching the wood, but for these I have to support it. Alright, so this is a beading tool. It's just a scraper that has a point on it. I'm going to come up to the top, we have a finial. And then I'm going to take my gouge and just blend those two lines together. So this is a series of tapers. So I got a piece of wire here that I'm just using to burn in decorative lines. This is picture hanging wire. I took 2 strands off and plied them together. And then I put little handles on there so I have a small garrote. Alright, so we did fine grit. We're at 220. Now I'm going to burnish with some wood chips. Let's see if I can bring this down a little bit. That's a little better. Alright. So I'm just going to hold the wood chips on the wood. Think of it like a friction polish. It does a really good job. Then we're going to come in with wax. So it's clamped in my chuck here. Hey Edgar, how's it going? I see that you're a cutter. Alright, we're going to come up to the top here. You're a tailor. Then we're just going to sand that up. Yeah. My last name is Snyder. The Dutch spelling, the S and Y. Like the pretzels. So we are making shafts for Turkish drop spindles. They look like this. And they're used to spin yarn. This is what came before the spinning wheel. And we're turning them out of hard maple. So I'm centering it. But I'm not going to put my live center in. It's just a pin. Was that a hanger? Okay, so this is one that I've been spinning yarn on. So you start out with roving. This is actually top. So a sheep gets a haircut. Then they pick all the nasty parts out. Then they gently wash it to get rid of most of the lanolin. Then they put it in machines that card it. So all these, or comb it, all these hairs are facing the same direction. So you put it on the spindle and you make yarn out of it. So I lined it up in the center, but I'm not putting my pin in until it starts spinning. And that's because this might not be perfectly straight. So if you use the center finder, so this will mark the center, but it'll only be the center on that plane, not necessarily the center of the entire shaft. So now it's got a wobble there, but it's true to itself. So if we bring this down, and since it's clamped in the chuck, if I back off the tailstock, now it's nice and straight. Now, if I was making a piece of furniture, it wouldn't matter if it was perfectly straight or not. If this was like a spindle for like the back of a chair, it wouldn't matter. But since we're using these as a tool where they spin, it needs to be straight. So a spindle is one of the first simple machines. We've been using spindles since at least Neolithic times. How much do I sell them for? Um, Depending on the wood type and how big they are and what type of spindle they are, they can be anywhere between $20 and $100. Got a little vibration on this one. So wood has a lot of is this tuna here? Wood's a natural material. There's a lot of internal stresses in wood, so the reason I have it in this tin is so I could close it so it keeps the air out of it. Yeah. But there's a lot of people who spin yarn. It's kind of the natural progression after crocheting and knitting, because you want to make your own yarn for your knitting and crocheting. So we're getting ready for a fiber show. So we're located in Wisconsin. We're going to be going to North Carolina, near Asheville and Fletcher. The show's called SAF. It's a Southeastern Animal Fair. Southeastern Fiber Fair. I think that's what it is. So we're building up inventory for that, and then we have a break until, I believe, March. This is our next show, but we also wholesale. We do very limited wholesaling. We kept like the original 15 people, 15 businesses. We're really not taking on a lot more. So we go to shows, and then we also... So this will be for a smaller spindle. This is a 6-inch shaft. And then we have online, we have Etsy, and then we have our own website. So yeah, me and my girlfriend work together. She's laser engraving on the bottom of spindles right now. So we're in like a 2,000-foot old commercial building. It used to be, it was built in 1900. There's a couple apartments upstairs. And it used to be a grocery store. Hey Gabriel, how's it going? Welcome in. So we were just making some wood chips, aka man glitter. Yeah, so normally this channel I make projects, but I figure since I'm going to be doing batch work, might as well hang out with you guys. So, Antonio, how's it going? So I'm going to start working on recorded content when we get back from the show. So we're looking at probably a video every 2 weeks, week and a half. from November through March. Flynn, how's it going? Hello, Slowbo. Ricky, hello, welcome in. There we go, that's a 7-inch. Hey, Ricky. So this is what they look like when they're assembled. And this is what they look like when they're actually being used. The cool part about these are when you're done, you can pull the shaft out, and then the arms come apart, and then you have a center pulled ball here. A lot of other types of spindles you have to wind off onto something else. That one you just pop it off, it's ready for plying. Since it's a center pull ball, I mean, it's super easy for going to the next step. Thank you. You know, the biggest thing with batch work is to have all your tooling in a specific location where you know where it is, so you don't have to look for things. I don't know. There's nothing worse than having to track down, let's say, a pencil. You need to make a line, you don't have any pencils. So I put a magnet on my pencil, and then I just stick it onto my tail sucker. That way I always know where it is. My, trying to think what I would call this. My arm jig. It lives here. That way I know where it is. So this is a story stick. It just has a bunch of lines on. Depending on what I'm making, I'm going to make a 7-inch. So I'm going to transfer these 2 lines over and these 3 lines over. Gauge, there you go. Thank you. I was trying to sound out what you said, yeah. So yeah, we'll call it an arm gauge, that'll work. Like, I was just talking about my girlfriend, for God's sake. Yeah, so this will be the same location as the bottom of this. And this is made out of barrow wood, or Argentina ligamente. It's another name for it. It's really super hard. If I would make this out of cherry, the constant use would wash that hole out pretty quick. This wood is really hard. So I haven't had to replace this in a year. Yeah, the Vera wood, you throw it in water and it's like bloop, all the way down to the bottom. It sinks like you wouldn't believe. Alright, then back to burnishing. And a little bit of wax. There we go. So my lathe is Laguna Revo 1216. It's the MIDI size lathe. So wood lathes tend to come in like pen lathe size, which is a short one, MIDI, and then full size. Hey David, how's it going? So this lathe, even though it's a MIDI lathe, you can turn outboard. So on the back, you could turn larger things, like a larger bowl. All right, let's see. Stan, how's it going? Welcome in, K1Z. How many will I produce? Today I'm probably looking at maybe 30. So these are primarily what I'm known for. So I'm looking at infinity work. So after the busy season, you know, I can get ahead of the game. And I have, you know, bags that I put every different size in, but, you know, best laid plans of mice and men, you know. So these are my 4 1/4 inch. These are the only ones that I have any that are built up that I don't need right now. Hey David, welcome in. The nice thing about burnishing is you're making the wood chips. So you might as well get use out of them, you know. So I will take the really fine sawdust and the wood chips and a CNC lathe. Yeah, I got one of those. I've got a Shapeoko 5 Pro with a spindle on it. You know, for making the shafts, I prefer, you know, making them by hand so I can keep an eye on them. You know, if I would outsource these, for what type of job? For making top worlds. Let me grab a couple. So the CNC machine, you know, I'll cut this out and then I put, you know, it needs sanding and machining, but eventually it looks like this. So I have a sublimated disc that'll go in there. Cut that out. And that. So these aren't done or sanded yet. So this is a nitty knotty. So you wind your yarn when you're done around these arms. And that makes a hank. I'm sorry, I only speak English. So it'll get laser engraved and get like a sheep here and the name down here. So hello Ahmed, how's it going? Hello 82, welcome in. Yeah, so eventually I'm going to be making spinning wheels on it. So right now I'm just kind of cutting my teeth. So I'm learning the machine right now. I've been 3D printing and laser engraving for quite a while, so they're not dissimilar, you know. Just getting the workflow down and figuring out speeds and feed rates. Jennifer, welcome in. So I make quite a few different styles of Turkish spindles. So this shaft here could be used for like 3 different models. Yep, where I am, it's 5, not even 5:30 p.m. Normally I'm done by now, but we decided to burn the midnight oil tonight. Hang out with you guys. Oh, lathe. Yeah. Yeah, this is a Laguna Revo. So it's a midi size, so it's kind of a middle, it's a kind of in-between size. For me, it's like the Goldilocks lathe. It's big enough where I can make everything I want to make, but not too big where I get forced into making pool cues, baseball bats, you know. Nope, not on TikTok today. Yeah, I haven't streamed on TikTok in a while. It's just been super busy here, which, you know, being self-employed, that's probably a good thing. Yeah, I used to stream quite a bit doing multi-streams. You know, not the vertical video. Right? I'm just being sneaky. So yeah, this channel is, you know, more about making woodworking projects. Do I have anything laying around? Let me go grab something from the videos on this channel. So it's a little dusty, but you know. So I make a design, you know, for Easter, and the one we have at home has a whole bunch of different colors painted in the background. But I like the silver and black. So I'll design a project and give away the. So hey, thanks. Welcome in 4007 and 3192. Yeah, so normally if I was live streaming on this channel, it'd be more about making projects. If you say so. But I bet it'd be harder to identify if I wasn't making spindles. Hey Nick, how's it going? Oh, I'm starting to feel like, okay, quite a bit of vibration. We did nothing wrong. It's just, sometimes that's the way life goes. So this will go in my fireplace this winter and keep me warm for 30 seconds. So if you're just joining us, we're turning hard maple. We are making Turkish drop spindle shafts for spinning yarn. But this would also show you if you want to make a magic wand to Leviosa stuff. Pretty much the same thing. So it's hard to believe that we've been in this workshop for over a year now. So we spent, you know, over a decade working out of our house and out of a little shed. So let me bring it up. So this channel, you know, this is my day job. It's Snyder Spindles. So this is my Etsy. SnyderSpindles.com is a Shopify. So shop is quite empty right now because we're, you know, this is going to be our third show in 2 months. Not a problem. So I'm charging my phone, but the charger's not plugged in, so it's really not working. Yeah. Yeah, there's something about, you know, subtractive manufacturing. Yeah, there's quite a few different styles in there. Tomorrow I think I have to make some support spindles and some Russians. Maybe turn the color a little bit. Yeah, it looks like this tickled there. Okay. Yeah, actually. How do I not hurt my fingers? Magic. I'm more likely to get like splinters from, you know, like working with rough wood. This stuff is not so bad. Hello, Russia! Welcome in. Is it Triviet, my drug? Like I say, I only speak English. Yeah, I have to do a lot of supporting on these because they're so thin. I mean, if I wasn't supporting them, they wouldn't be straight. So And you know, Russia, I love your plywood. I use quite a bit of Baltic birch. It's so, yeah, it's very thin. I'm making drop spindles for spinning yarn. So yeah, these are the shafts. And that's the yarn I've spun in this one. Yeah. Speed does matter. You know, since these are very, very thin, you want to just... the faster, the better. We are currently running at 3,629 RPMs. Because that's what this lathe maxed out at. Welcome in. Yeah. I would not be running full speed if it was bigger. I'd just have it much, much slower. My old Rikon would get up to 4,000 RPM. You know, I really should be turning it down for sanding, because it's just going to eat my sandpaper up. Hey, I try, you know? But you have to realize that the only reason I know that is I was watching a Rust video, and I'm sure the English guy was slaughtering it even more. There we go. So, I don't drop them. So, yeah. They're not all going to be exactly the same, but they're handmade, and they're going to be close. The other one is 120. So I start with the medium and good fine grit, and then the burnishing, you know, makes it hella smooth. But since this is a tool, it doesn't make sense to go down to 2,000 grit or anything. So it is a shaft for a drop spindle. I get it. It's very niche. Yeah, so I worked in factories for almost 20 years, and I got laid off and decided to try doing this full time. And yeah, I'm still here doing it. So and yeah, probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago, my girlfriend was able to quit her job and then come over here and work with me. Now I'm being okay. You guys are just talking about how you're from Moscow. I gotcha. It's in the barn with Pasco, yeah. You guys can keep Steven Seagal. Oh yeah. That's just it. I'll never have a monocle and a top hat and a big cigar or anything, but all my bills are paid, you know. I enjoy what I do. Well, it's kind of sideways. Does that make it easier? I can't really fit it in here. Not the best setup, I'll tell you that. But good enough for today. And it gets me out of the house. Unfortunately, our last show was in Texas. It's shafts for a job spindle. We're making these for spinning yarn. It could be a wand. It could be a travel wand. We could Leviosa stuff. Yeah, making a magic wand is spindle turning. This is spindle turning. It lets me skip about 4 different grits of sandpaper. Quite a bit of vibration, and I'm going to get a 6-inch shaft out of this one. I'm going to attempt a 6-inch shaft. So the majority of the shafts I make are 4 1/4, 6, 7, 8, and 10. And that kind of fits every different one I make. I certainly am. The best part about the wrenches is they don't change size. And if that makes it worse, this one is 7/16, and this one is 6 millimeter. I can't even stick with a measuring system. You know, the issue with using like this style calipers is if you touch the wood, they vibrate, and then this will change size on you. So you have to always sit there and make sure it's the correct size. Throughout the day, you gotta, recalibrate it. I wouldn't be using like a 2-inch wrench on there or anything, but these little ones work just fine. For other things, I've made gauges. to get the size I need. So right now I'm sharing my dust extractor with my girlfriend because I'm a good boyfriend. Hers died, so when we get back I'll order. She has a smaller, kind of like one you can hang on the wall that just have like the big bag sticking out of the side for the sanding. Just one of those things. So I do keep some chicken wire in there because if I drop my sandpaper in there, it'll go and plug up the dust extractor, so I don't want that. How redneck is that? You know, all I have to do is add duct tape. Already got the chicken wire going. She is sanding. I don't think she wants to be on camera though, so I'll grab something. So she is sanding the bottom here, putting wax on, and then she's sanding these arms. So this is a Delight. It's got a Turkish pattern on the top. So she's sanding these, rounding them over and making sure that they're balanced. Yeah, I think it's really pretty. So with the Turkish spindles, yeah, we make all the parts. So my girlfriend does the layout. So we use blue painter's tape, and then we glue the pattern to the top. That way when I'm done I can just rip the pattern off. So she lays out the spindles, she drills a hole in the top, and then she sands. You know, she does a lot of other things. I do a lot of other things as well. You know, how many an hour? It takes 5 minutes, usually. It's about 12 an hour. It all depends. If I'm making shorter ones, they don't take as long. If I get a batch of the doweling that's actually straight, they go a lot faster. You know, this stuff, I'm neurodivergent. This kind of stuff, I just shut my brain off. I actually enjoy the monotony of doing it. Hey, Jordy, how's it going? Welcome in. So today we're working on shafts for drop spindles. These are Turkish drop spindles for spinning yarn. So I put the wood chips on them. It's called burnishing. Think of it like a friction polish. Just makes them very smooth. Hey, Beatty, how's it going? So these are actually going to be for a Turkish spindle that's made out of TPU. So it's a flexible filament that's 3D printed. So that's why I have nothing to show you with them, because I don't have the arms here. So I just knocked my pencil off. There it is. Hey, Zox. So these are the pencils I use on the lathe. They're for little kids to learn how to handwrite. So it's got like basically like a number 2 lead in there, so it's a little bit thicker. And it works out really well, as long as they don't knock it over. And I did sharpen my tools before the stream. So the tools get dull rather slowly. These are Robert Sorby out of Sheffield, England. It's got really nice high-speed steel. But they get dull really slowly though, so you don't realize how dull they are. How long have I been doing this? I've been doing this professionally since 2013. I started making these in 2012, and we are making drop spindles for spinning yarn. I think I'm just about out of pens. I should probably do a pen stream one of these days. I'm trying to think what the median price would be. Probably in the $40 range. They range from $20 and up. It all depends on what materials they're made out of. You know, if somebody wants an entire ebony spindle, you know, it's probably going to be about $100. But if you want something just starting out, you know, I make spindles that are $20. Hey, Daniel. Now, I've also been making them for over a decade. And I could be charging a lot more, but as long as I can pay my bills. I'm kind of switching things up, trying to keep the prices not going up. But with the way things are going, I use a lot of exotic woods. And I'm in America, so, you know, as long as billionaires can get their tax cuts, I guess I have to pay more for everything. It's not cornered, you know, there's some people doing this besides me. So when I started making these, they were either super cheap or super expensive. Really wasn't a middle ground. So you could buy, somebody who went to the craft store. How do I keep them from breaking? Knowing the limitations of the tooling. As long as, they're used correctly, it's not going to break. But if somebody decides they're going to sit on it or purposely break it, I do sell replacement parts. So. If you're too aggressive, they're going to break making them. So I'm not taking, really, really, really aggressive passes. But they are quite thin. I don't think when I first started on the lathe I'd be able to produce these at all. You can see I'm doing a lot of supporting with my hand because you really can't squeeze the steady rest in there. It would take longer to get the steady rest in there and to get it adjusted than it takes to make it, I'm living the dream. Yeah. I mean, definitely springy. I am running full bore on these, so it's 3,629 RPMs is what this lathe maxes out at. It's not a very big diameter, so you can get away with those speeds. Typically I will turn the lathe down for sanding. Just so I don't go through so much sandpaper. Yeah, it's quick. But today I'm not worried about it. If I'm turning something larger, I wouldn't be touching it as much. Will it hold a hot dog? I bet it would. I don't think you could roast it. Hey Gustav, how's it going? You never tried anything this small, yeah. So, I can spin those really delicate, spindles for like those icicle ornaments, that kind of thing, or box lids. We're making Turkish drop spindles that are used to spin yarn. So this is what came before the spinning wheel. How long is my live stream? Well, I've been, going for a little bit over an hour. I'm going to try to do another half hour, but when the girlfriend's ready to go home, I'm going to have to do that. Right now, I'm just streaming really sporadic. We have a show that we're going to be leaving for next week. So when we get back, I don't have another show until March. So I'll get a streaming schedule going, and I'm going to start recording, videos again. So. Yeah, so right now my live streaming is really sporadic, so, if you give me a follow and click the bell, it'll notify you when I go online. Oh, nice. I have never been there. I have never left the United States. But it's getting awfully tempting these days. The nice thing is I can make these with very limited tooling if I need to. I could probably make them out of the back of a panel truck if I needed to. I appreciate it. Belize is awfully tempting. Just because, I'm a stupido gringo and I cannot speak any other language. So, I know it sounds like I'm in a wind tunnel, but this exhaust is mainly for getting the really fine dust. I'm really not concerned about the wood chips. I don't think I'm going to breathe those in. Yeah, that one's pretty frickin' bent. We'll give it a chance. Worst case scenario, it'll go in the fireplace. What other things do? I make a lot of fiber tools. And I also design patterns for scroll saw stuff. I do a lot of scroll saw work too. Let me grab one of the things I just made a couple months ago. Actually, I think this was Steve Good. I don't think I designed this one, but yeah. So I make stuff like this. And then I went back and I did a bunch of power carving on it. Grabbed my foredom and just rounded over the edges. Stuff that'll end up in Goodwill. Bien. Comme ci, comme ça. No hablo español. Yeah. Trying to think, when did I have to use really crappy Spanish? We were making drop spindles for spinning yarn. Hey Hunter, how's it going? So I used to work at Quad Graphics, which is a bindery. They make magazines. And we had a lot of non-English speakers. But I was kind of spoiled because I was an operator and my second operator was bilingual. So, you have a laser cutter machine? Cool. You make a lot of things, but it's also nice to see. I like it. I can call this. Nice. Yeah, lasers are fun. Yeah, I've got a 40-watt CO2 laser, and then I've got a 40-watt diode laser, and then I have the X-Tool F1, which is a galvo laser. Yeah, this is only a wood lathe. I mean, you could turn brass on it. Eventually, I'd like to get a metal lathe. Nothing huge. But I do plan on... I'm designing a spinning wheel right now. Well, it's still in the thought process. I've made prototypes in the past, but it'd be nice to have a metal lathe so I can knock out some stuff. I mean, I could do some softer metals on my CNC machine, too. But sometimes it's just easier to outsource, too. So. Oh, thank you so much. So I need 17. So I need a total of 19 of these. I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. We're getting close. So I'm gonna check in with Vicky in about a half hour, see if she wants to go home and get some food. So we've been working since like 8 o'clock this morning. So these are dowels. They're already round. So I'm not going to be pulling a lot of splinters out of them. As far as the friction goes, I do have a little bit of neuropathy in my hands, but I'm just, just supporting. I mean, I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure on it. I'm just keeping it from vibrating. Take a peek here. Yeah, that one did splinter a little bit. So I'm just going to go back a little bit further. And then put my taper in here. Yeah, it's just the fact that these are so thin. If I didn't support them, they wouldn't turn out. Do a 7-inch, there's a little bit of vibration on the end there, which is fine. So if there's vibration on the end, you can always make them shorter. Yep, even with here I'm supporting because if I would just lay this in, it would have chatter all over it. So instead of being smooth, there'd be a whole bunch of vertical lines when it's vibrating, just hitting it. The chicken wire saved the day. So yeah, there's chicken wire in there to catch things falling in. So my dust extractor is in the next room over. Having to run over there, shut that off, and take it apart to pull out a piece of sandpaper gets annoying. You know, as far as the friction goes, I always have a little bit of the paste wax on my fingers too, so that might keep it from getting too hot. Yeah, this one, I don't know about. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. Oof. If I turn that down, can you see how much vibration is going on there? It's not really vibration, it's just very bent. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Alright, let's look. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Occasionally it's not a bad thing either. You know, if I would have marked the center and put it on there, it would have been like, just like, cupped. Oh yeah, I was talking earlier, I don't know if I finished my sentence. So the wood chips here and the fine sawdust, I will actually melt wax and put the wood in the wax and use in those little Dixie cups that, you know, you used to always use like in the 80s in the bathrooms if you're fancy and rich. Yeah, it's got quite a bit of vibration. We'll do a 4 1/4. So yeah, so I make little fire starters out of those. And they work great. I'll grab one. So, yeah. You know, it almost looks like it's that bird food stuff. But yeah, this stuff just is awesome. Just throw it in there, light it up. You got a fire going. Shut the door. Both? It's a wand with a finial. So the reason for the finial, so you get that little bit of a notch there. So you put in a half hitch and it holds it. So you can spin your yarn and then you can just pop it off. And then drop it on the floor because it is a drop spindle. It's enough to hold it. Yeah, so the smallest one I make is 4 1/4, which this is. And it doesn't get the beads, it just gets a line burned in there. It's just too small. Now, because we have so much mass on this side, it's going to be very, very delicate. So rather than trying to make my finial, I'm just going to cut it off. So I'm going to use my 40 grit chisel here, just to refine the shape. I don't have any of the 10-inch shafts made now, but, you know, from that to, you know, a 10-inch shaft. I see tacos in my near future. Little white onion and cilantro. So I'm one of those guys that cilantro tastes like soap. But I've been forcing myself to eat it for like the last few years. It's not my favorite, but my body doesn't say, hey, I'm gonna die. What are you doing? Yeah, the sandpaper's toast. Abraham, how's it going? Hopefully I said that right. So the sandpaper is like, originally it's like this size. I actually cut it in half with my scroll saw with an old blade on it. That way I don't dull my scissors. And I don't want to sit there and, rip it, against a straight edge. All right. I'm getting the look. So let's see how many 7 inches we have. We're looking at, we need 19. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. I think we're going to make one more and we're going to call it a stream. Just so I don't get my butt kicked. Yeah. Vicky, uno más. Just one more, and then I'm gonna call it a stream. And tacos? Haha! I get tacos. Everything's coming up, Millhouse. Now you got to decide if you want Taco John's, Taco Bell, Maya. It's up to you. I think we're just gonna hit a drive-through. If we go to Maya, I end up getting a fajita del mar. Oh, I love me some octopus. Same to you, Matt. It's been a good stream. Yeah. What are we making? I am making Turkish drop spindles that are used for spinning yarn. This machine right here is a wood lathe. It's a midi-sized lathe. It's a Laguna Revo 1216. So we'll get this done. Well, actually, come up here. It's SnyderSpindles.com, SNYDER. So, I won't. So, there we go. So, that's a top whirl spindle made on a bamboo. I also make plastic Turkish spindles. So, I mean, currently, have I ever had a tool go under as you cut? Oh, yeah. So, we're currently making everybody's favorite thing, a dragon. On the X1 carbon over there, this X1 carbon, another dragon, and then I got a couple older printers where I'm just making little sheep that I give away. So that this one, yeah, I've got some heat issues, so I'll just come in with a torch and just give them little haircuts. So yeah, this is an old King Rune. This thing was amazing for the price. For your hollow bamboo walking stick, right now I really don't have time to be taking on other orders. So right now we're kind of in the middle of busy season. So we'll quickly get this one done and call it a stream. All right, I'll keep that in mind, Matt. I've been very, very lucky on YouTube here. When on Twitch, oh man, Snyder Spindles, yep. I'm also on Etsy. So let's see here. Review shop. So this is my Etsy store. Some Snyder Spindles. Yeah. So this one has 26,000 sales on it with a 5 rating, over 8,000 reviews. So we're currently making these right now. So that one's made out of yaya wood or white wangai. It's pretty neat. Do I know Bailey Woodworks? I do not. Yeah. I think if somebody told me they're going to lose a finger, yeah. Actually, I've had that happen. It might have been the same guy. Yeah, I've been live streaming for a long, long time, on and off. You know, I'm more likely to stop everything and, oh, let's talk about you right now. You know. And then I'll put them on a timeout, knowing that they're not going to be coming back. Yeah. Trolls happen. I've got pretty thick skin. I mean, I'm 50 years old. I mean, oh no. He said bad things about me. Camera's down. Oh, you're right. Let's bring that down. I've been doing it forever, but I can't put the camera right. That's okay. Let's get some more burning action going. You know, and then I'll get people, of course, just the way life works. And people think I should be wearing gloves. Oh boy. I'm not OSHA, but I think they would frown on that. You know, I'm paid up on my workman's comp. I don't want to have to use it. Gloves would be hella dangerous. You know, you see some turners, you know, where they got the fingers cut off, but yeah, I don't really. I like to keep my hands. All right, there we go. So I'd like to thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to think. I might stream tomorrow during the day for a couple hours. I'm not sure. We're just getting ready for a show, so everything is pretty much up in the air right now. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the new subs and all the likes. You guys are awesome. I'll catch you next time. I'll definitely check that out. So, all right, guys. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time.